The Forsaken Heir. Previous episodes are available on the playlist. You can also visit our website for your favorite stories. A link is provided in the video description. Episode 33. Jacob was so ridiculed by Sun Yuki, his face was naturally very uncontrollable. However, he kept in mind Su Wen's reminder that the top priority is to fight for the position of standing director, not to get angry with Sun Yuki. So, he resisted his anger, didn't speak, and went with everyone, following Sun Yuki, all the way to a golden box upstairs. As soon as they entered the door, everyone was surprised and admired again and again by the luxurious decoration in the golden box. A standing director spoke at this moment and said with a sigh, "Today we are all thanks to the talents, so that we can see the luxury of the golden box of classic mansion." Someone echoed, "Yes. Not long ago, a friend of mine who was worth tens of millions wanted to book this box. He went a lot of ways, but he couldn't make a decision. He could only regretfully choose the next best one. Silver box." Upon hearing this, everyone was even more curious, and some people couldn't help but ask Sun Yuki, "Sun Yuki, how did you book the golden box? Did someone help or?" Sun Yuki said with a proud face, "If I want to book a golden box, where do I need help from others? To put it bluntly, this is what I do." After speaking, he explained to everyone, "To tell you the truth, I am a frequent visitor to Classic Mansion, I often eat here, and I am also a friend of Orville, so the box below the diamond level, if I want, Classic the house will be open for me at any time." After listening, everyone present was amazed. President Pei said incredulously, "You are talented, are you friends with our underground emperor Mr. Orville in Oris Hill?" "Of course." Sun Yuki said triumphantly, "If I don't know him well, how can I have such a big face, so I can book the golden box easily?" Although Sun Yuki said so, in fact, he knew Orville, but Orville didn't know him. The reason why he was able to book this golden box was not because of Orville's relationship at all, but because he spent a huge price far exceeding the original price of the golden box before he transferred it from others. At this time, taking Orville out to talk about the matter was just thinking that the fox would be pretending to be more prestigious in front of everyone. However, no one would doubt the truth or falsehood of this statement. After all, they were in golden boxes all seated in, so everyone thought that Sun Yuki was telling the truth, and it was a compliment to Sun Yuki now. At this moment, Sun Yuki was praised by everyone, and was even more proud. He looked at Jacob and sarcastically said, "Jacob, you didn't see the chairman and all the directors seated? Why are you so low on the price of eyesight? Why don't you quickly bring tea and pour water?" Jacob looked ugly and blurted out, "Sun Yuki, what do you mean?" Sun Yuki said contemptuously, "What can I mean? You don't look at it. Among these people, which status is not higher than you? You are an old rag. If you don't serve us tea, do you want us to serve you?" Jacob's face was even more ugly, and he said angrily, "You said that my status is not as good as that of the chairman and other executive directors. I admit this, but what kind of status you have, don't you know it? Everyone is ordinary in the association. Members, what are you pretending to be with me here? You want me to serve you tea and water, dream about you. Su Wen next to him also said displeasedly, Sun Yuki, is it a bit too much for you to speak like this? Sun Yuki laughed and said, what's wrong with me? Who made Jacob's old rag too rubbish? If he can book a golden box, I can also serve him in turn. The problem is that he doesn't have this ability. After speaking, he looked at Jacob coldly and said, do you think I asked you to come to the golden box to let you eat and drink? To tell you the truth, for someone like you, let you serve tea. Pouring water is already giving you a lot of face, don't shame your face. Jacob gritted his teeth angrily. He had known that Sun Yuki was so vicious, biting him like a dog, and said nothing to ask for this boring. Just when Jacob was so speechless and uncomfortable, Orville's car just stopped at the gate of Classic Mansion. The first thing after getting off the bus is to hurriedly ask the hotel manager who opened the door, is there someone named Jacob who has reserved our box today? Yes, it's on Bronze No 3. The hotel manager will carefully record the guests of the hotel every day, naturally knowing every guest who booked the box today. Orville nodded and hurriedly said, come to the bronze box number 3 with me. When he was at the Song family banquet, Mr. Wade told him that his old man would come to his restaurant for dinner and let him take care of him. How can he condescend to sit in the small bronze box? He has to go to the diamond box. Orville hurriedly came to the door of bronze box number 3 and found that the door was open, but there was no one in the box. He was taken aback for a moment and asked the waitress in the box, I ask you, where is Mr. Wilson who booked this box? The waitress hurriedly said, Great Mr. Orville, Mr. Jacob was there before, but was invited to the golden box upstairs by other guests just now. He is in the golden box No 2. Orville immediately said to the hotel manager, come, follow me. At this time, in the golden box, Sun Yuki looked at Jacob coldly, and still sneered, Jacob, at your level, I don't think you are even qualified to join the Calligraphy and Painting Association. Why are you embarrassed to compete for the executive director? Jacob said coldly, you said I'm not eligible? I think you are not. Even if I'm not eligible anymore, I picked up a leak in the antique street. I bought it for thousands and sold it for hundreds of thousands, have you? Sun Yuki said contemptuously, you just blow it. Anyway, your mouth is on your face. You can blow it whatever you want. You can also say that you picked up a leak for thousands and sold for tens of millions. The problem is who believes it. Jacob snorted and said, if you believe it or not, go to the antique street and ask Irvin Jones. I picked up the omission and he took it. Irvin Jones. Sun Yuki frowned, and blurted out, Irvin Jones is a famous profiteer on Antique Street. He is very treacherous. He is the darkest in the entire Antique Street. Can he spend hundreds of thousands on your things? Kill me. I do not believe. Jacob said contemptuously, if you don't believe me, you can ask him tomorrow. Believe you a ghost? Sun Yuki said with a curled mouth, I don't bother to talk nonsense with you, and don't see who I am. Is it worthy to eat with us? Pour everyone's wine quickly. If you can't do this thing well, just get out of here. Don't be an eyesore here. Jacob trembled with anger, and was about to speak, when a voice suddenly rang out behind him, What are you that dare to talk to Mr. Wilson like this? You are too tired and crooked." When everyone heard this voice, they looked out the door, and saw Orville leading the hotel manager and stepping into the box. Naturally, Sun Yuki knew Mr. Orville. When he saw Mr. Orville was here, he hurriedly stepped forward and said respectfully, "Mr. Orville, why are you here in person?" Unexpectedly, Orville glanced at him coldly, and said, "Just now you called Mr. Wilson the old master, was it you?" Sun Yuki was stunned. "What do you mean? Orville knows Jacob?" Thinking of this, he hurriedly explained, "Great Mr. Orville, this is probably a misunderstanding. Both Jacob and I are members of the Calligraphy and Painting Association. We usually have a good relationship with each other. Occasionally ridicule is not a big deal." Orville frowned, saw Jacob, and hurriedly said respectfully, "Mr. Wilson, I didn't expect you to visit Classic Mansion today. Orville's bad greetings, please forgive me." Everyone in the room was shocked to see such a scene. Especially Sun Yuki, who was scared into a cold sweat at this moment, couldn't believe his eyes at all. The underground Emperor Orville, who is famous throughout Oris Hill, is actually so respectful to Jacob, the old rag? Isn't this too bullshit? At this time, it was not only President Pei and others who were surprised. Jacob was also taken aback and couldn't help asking, "Do you know me?" Orville explained with a humble face, "Last time in the Brilliant Club, when Mr. Wade ordered me to dispose of Panming and Wang's son-in-law, I was fortunate to see you." Jacob asked again, "Mr. Wade that you said is my son-in-law Charlie?" Orville said solemnly, "Yes, it is Mr. Wade." Jacob suddenly realized. Only then did he want to understand, as Orville's lofty status, how could he condescend and be so respectful to himself, an ordinary person who has no money and power, and co-authored because of his son-in-law Charlie. It seems that the son-in-law is a big flicker, and it also has the benefits of a big flicker, at least before he is free of thunder, he can follow him. At this time, Orville pointed to Sun Yuki and asked Jacob, "Mr. Wilson, I just heard this person insult you. Do you want me to teach him a lesson?" Sun Yuki paled with fright, and hurriedly said, "Jacob, brother, we are members of an association, we are all brothers, you have to help me say something." "What can I say for you?" Jacob said with a look of emotion, "You have said it yourself, I am just an old silk, I only serve you with tea and water, so I can speak for you." Sun Yuki suddenly cried and said with a mournful face, "Oh my good brother, don't be familiar with me, I was just playing with you." Jacob chuckled, "Don't, an old pauper dare not be your good brother. It's better for us to draw a clear line at this time." Sun Yuki knew that Jacob still hated him, and he regretted it. He knew that Orville was so respectful to him and killed him, so he didn't dare to pretend to be forceful. Looking at Sun Yuki, Orville said in a cold voice, "You are on my site, and you dare to be disrespect Mr. Wilson. I don't know how to write the dead words." Sun Yuki's face was instantly pale, and his cowardly lips trembled and couldn't speak. Pointing at Sun Yuki, Orville shouted to the men behind him, "Come on, pull this guy out and beat him fiercely, especially break his mouth for me." When Sun Yuki heard this, he was so scared that he immediately knelt in front of Orville and shouted, "Lord Orville, I'm sorry, I didn't know Jacob was your distinguished guest. It was my fault, and I apologize to you. Forgive me, and spare me this time." He really didn't expect that Jacob's son-in-law would be such a bull. Even the majestic underground emperor of Oris Hill would become Jacob's licking dog. Just as he wanted to beg for mercy anymore, some of Orville's bodyguards immediately took a step forward, and slapped him. Sun Yuki was instantly dizzy, and then he was punched and kicked by a few strong bodyguards in front of him. He looked miserable. Orville looked at Sun Yuki coldly and said, "I ask you, why are you targeting Mr. Wilson everywhere?" Sun Yuki was full of blood, crying and said, "I'm sorry, Mr. Orville, I was just competing with Jacob for the standing director of the Painting and Calligraphy Association, so I couldn't stop talking, please forgive me." Orville ignored him, but looked at the crowd in the private room and asked, "Who is the head of the Calligraphy and Painting Association?" Chairman Pei hurriedly said, "Mr. Orville, next is the chairman of the Calligraphy and Painting Association." Orville nodded, pointed at Sun Yuki, and said coldly, "I ask you, this kind of rubbish can also enter your Painting and Calligraphy Association. How did you become the president? Can you do it? Can you give it to me? Let him out." President Pei shuddered in fright. He was very eager to survive, and he blurted out subconsciously, "I will resign tomorrow." At that time, Jacob must be elected as the president of the Calligraphy and Painting Association. When Jacob heard this, he hurriedly waved his hand and said, "I can't help President Pei, I'm not at the level of a president. I'm very satisfied to be a standing director." Chairman Pei hurriedly said, "Since Orville thinks you can, then you must be able to." Jacob waved his hand again and said, "I'm not quite accomplished yet, I can't afford this position." At this time, Orville looked at Chairman Pei and said, "Since you are the chairman, I will give you a suggestion." After a pause, Orville pointed to Sun Yuki and said, "First of all, remove this product permanently." Chairman Pei blurted out, "It must be. I will remove him completely tomorrow." Orville gave a hum, then pointed at Jacob, and said, "Mr. Wilson has a very high level of knowledge in antique calligraphy and painting. Since he is humble and unwilling to be the chairman, you should give him the position of standing director. Do you understand?" President Pei hurriedly promised, "Yes, yes. I will do as you ordered from the Master Orville." As he said, he changed his face and said to Sun Yuki, "Sun Yuki, I announce that from this moment on, you have been removed from the Oris Hill Painting and Calligraphy Association. And you cannot join for life." Sun Yuki's heart is desperate. To be honest, he himself does not have much ability to appraise treasures. The reason why he was able to join the Oris Hill Local Painting and Calligraphy Association was because he had spent some money to get this place. Usually he relied on the membership of the Calligraphy and Calligraphy Association to scam everywhere, thinking that being a standing director would be more convenient for him to defraud money, but he did not expect that he would be permanently removed because he offended Jacob. However, he dared not express any dissatisfaction. After all, the coercion of Orville was placed here, and he could not bear it anyway. Just when he had accepted his fate, Orville looked at him and said in a cold voice, "Don't you think you have a good identity? I will arrange a place for you that can best highlight your identity." With that, Orville ordered his guard, "Carry him away, find the dirtiest pig farm, and let him live with the dirtiest old sow for a week. This week, he eats, drinks and sleeps. Stay with the old sow, what the pig eats is what he eats, where the pig sleeps where he sleeps. I want him to feel what is super VIP treatment. Sun Yukei's complexion changed drastically, he was scared to death in an instant, and his heart was desperate. Let him live and sleep with the old sow, but also eating pig food? Too disgusting, right? Let's not talk about how dirty the environment in the pigsty is, just talk about the smell of the old sow, which is nasty and smelly. If you let yourself sleep with her, it will make you sick. Besides, the pig food is full of leftovers. Due to the lack of air circulation and the sultry temperature, it will be rotten within a few hours. How can the body that has been pampered and maintained for many years be able to hold it? Moreover, he has to live with the old sow for a week. After a week he will no more be the same as he is now. Thinking of this, he hurriedly begged Orville, saying, "Great Mr. Orville, please be merciful and forgive me. I don't want to sleep with the old sow, the place is too dirty, I can't stand it." Orville sneered and said, "Can't stand it, right? Okay, double the time, 2 weeks. Sun Yukei cried loudly. Orville warned, "Cry? Just add another week to cry." Jacob felt that Sun Yukei had been beaten up and there was no need to get him to live with the old sow for 3 weeks, so he said, "Or don't go to the pig farm. The place is really dirty." Orville nodded and said, "The pig farm is indeed quite dirty, and it is very smelly, so I never run a pig farm." As he said, he suddenly remembered something and said excitedly, "By the way, I have a kennel in the suburbs, where there are expensive fighting dogs. Then you can chop him up and feed the dogs directly, saving worry and effort, and it is also very clean and hygienic, he will definitely like it." Upon hearing this, Sun Yukei was so frightened that he peed his pants, all over. If you can live, who would be willing to die? It's better to die than to live, isn't it just sleeping and eating with the old sow? Admit it. Therefore, he was extremely eager to survive, and immediately pleaded, "Great Mr. Orville, let me go and live with the old sow." Orville nodded in satisfaction and said, "Take him down, remember, you must find the dirtiest pig farm." Afterwards, a few strong men dragged away the bruised and swollen Sun Yukei, leaving behind a table of outrageous guests. When President Pei and others saw such a scene, their old faces twitched, and they said that Sun Yukei was not ordinary miserable. However, who can be blamed for this? He is responsible for everything. If he had a better attitude towards Jacob, how could he end up like this? When Sun Yukei started the 3-week customized luxury tour of the pigsty, Orville respectfully said to Jacob, "Mr. Wilson, the guy just peed on this ground. In order not to hinder you and others, please move meals in the diamond box. All expenses today will be borne by Classic Mansion." When these words came out, President Pei and the others were shocked. What? Did they hear right? The dignified Oris Hill Underground Emperor, it doesn't matter if he is respectful to Jacob, now in order to cheat him, he actually opened the highest standard diamond box in Classic Mansion to him? In the whole Oris Hill, there are only a handful of people who are eligible to book the diamond box in Classic Mansion. But now, Orville is rushing to curry favor with Jacob, and without waiting for him to ask, he directly expresses that he wants to open the diamond box for him? And it's free. If this is spread out, who would dare to believe it? Jacob was also a little surprised, hesitatingly said, "This, isn't it appropriate?" Orville said solemnly, "Mr. Wilson, you are Mr. Wade's father-in-law. Of course it is most appropriate to go to the diamond box to dine." When Jacob heard him say this, he relaxed and said flatly, "Great Mr. Orville, you are so polite." Only then did Chairman Pei and others realize that Jacob turned out to be a better figure. If you have a good relationship with others, you will definitely feel relieved in the future. Afterwards, Orville personally invited everyone to the diamond box. President Pei and others followed Jacob in turn, their faces respectful, and they didn't dare to make any big claims. Jacob saw all this in his eyes, and he couldn't help but close his mouth in joy. Obviously, he's rushing to ask these people to eat, but now, these people are all in awe with him. At this moment, Jacob felt that the son-in-law Charlie really gave him a face. When Jacob was invited by Orville to go all the way to the luxurious diamond box, Lu Guang and his son and the 5 Wu family bodyguards headed by Joneses who also came to the door of Classic Mansion. Lu Guang's face was full of cold-killing intent. During this period of time, his son Lu Ming's forehead has been hanging with 2 big characters, living a life that is better than death. Before today, he didn't dare to avenge his son because he couldn't provoke the 2 culprits, Charlie and Orville. Even the son was extremely humiliating. He came to Classic Mansion once a week to find Orville and let Orville check the lettering on his forehead. This is a great shame to him and his son. However, tonight, he wants Orville to pay the debt. And the reason why he brought his son here this time was precisely because tonight happened to be the day when his son came to order Mao this week. He was going to let his son use the opportunity of Wilson Mao to come in and inquire about the situation of Orville and Classic Mansion. For example, where is Orville and how many bodyguards he has? If he can't figure it out and rush in, he may be taken by Orville to escape. So he said to Lu Ming, who was standing next to him, "Son, you will go in later, what it was like before, and what it is today. But you have to be careful and look at Orville. Where is the specific location, how many of his subordinates are in Classic Mansion now, who knows all about him, and then come back to report to me, got it?" Lu Ming gritted his teeth and nodded, and said bitterly, "I know, Dad. Don't worry, I must figure it out." Lu Guang was pleased to pat his shoulder and said seriously, "Good son, Dad will avenge you tonight. Let Mr. Orville pay you with his life." Lu Ming hurriedly asked, "Dad, besides Mr. Orville, the one who humiliated me is Charlie. He must die too." "Don't worry," Lu Guang said seriously, "kill Orville tonight. I am the new underground emperor of Oris Hill. At that time, we will cooperate with the Wu family and directly kill that Charlie. Let him follow Orville, be a companion with him." Lu Ming was suddenly very excited, and when he recalled the humiliation he suffered during the time and the beginning, tears burst into his eyes. Immediately, he touched the scar carved on his forehead by Orville, crying and said, "Dad, can the words on my forehead be removed?" Lu Guang said in a gloomy and vicious voice, "Good son, don't worry, when you kill these 2 damned guys, Dad will take you to Korea for the best cosmetic surgery and will definitely help you remove all the scars. Before that, every time Lu Ming came to Classic Mansion to find Orville with the word poor hanging on his forehead, his heart was extremely broken. Every time he came over, he would be watched by the guests and waiters of Classic Mansion, which made him feel a kind of extreme humiliation. However, today is different. Today is the last time for Orville to die. After tonight, Orville will completely pass away in Oris Hill. Instead, his father, Lu Guang, will be the boss now. At that time, his father will become the underground emperor of Oris Hill. At that time, people will respect him as Mr. Lu Guang. At that time, I will also remove the humiliating scar on my forehead, and I will always be free from the shadow of the word poor hanging. At the thought of this, Lu Ming was almost excited. At this time, after seeing his son in the car, Lu Guang hurriedly said respectfully to Jones Zizhu, the Wu family bodyguard, "Mr. Zizhu, everything will depend on you later." Jones Zizhu nodded coldly and said, "Don't worry, no one in Oris Hill is an opponent of Jones Zizhu. This Mr. Orville won't survive tonight." Lu Guang was extremely excited. At this moment, he and his son have been looking forward to it for a long time. At this moment, Orville directly invited Jacob and others to the diamond box of Classic Mansion. He protected Jacob all the way, pointed to the noblest seat among them, and respectfully said, "Mr. Wilson, please come to your seat." Jacob was still a little uncomfortable. He looked at President Pei and said, "President Pei should be here." President Pei's heart was tense, and he hurriedly waved his hand and said, "Oh, Jacob, how dare I sit in the seat? You should come." If Jacob asked him to take a seat just now, he would have taken it without thinking. After all, he is the president and the person in charge of the Calligraphy and Painting Association. It is normal to be here. However, after seeing Orville being so polite to Jacob, he suddenly felt a little timid. Fortunately, he didn't show up in front of Jacob like Sun Yuki. Otherwise, he would go to the pig farm to experience a special life with the old sow. Opportunity, he has his own. When other people saw this scene, they hurriedly echoed, "Yes, Brother Wilson, you must be the one to sit here, please hurry up." Jacob was still very proud of being touted in the clouds and mists, so he smiled, "Haha, since everyone is so enthusiastic, it is hard to be kind, I won't be polite to everyone." After he finished speaking, he sat on the main seat and Su Wen and Chairman Pei sat on his left and right. After Orville waited for him to take his seat, he smiled and said, "Mr. Wilson, please wait for a while. The food will be ready soon. You can use tea first." While he was talking, a beautiful female manager walked into the box and came closer to Orville's ear and said, "Mr. Orville, that kid from the Lu family has come to see you." After listening to that, he immediately became happy and said, "Well, today is the day when Mr. Wilson became the standing director of the Painting and Calligraphy Association. Since this kid is here, call him into the box." To help Mr. Wilson. The beautiful female manager got the order and bowed slightly and walked out of the diamond box. When Jacob heard that, in addition to allowing himself to use the diamond box, Mr. Orville also specially prepared a celebration program. He was flattered and said, "Mr. Orville, you don't need to be so polite." Orville waved his hand and said with a smile, "Haha, this is what I should do." After speaking, he played a dumb riddle and then said, Mr. Wilson, don't worry, the show I prepared for you is definitely the only one in Oris Hill, and it has something to do with your son-in-law, Mr. Wade. I promise to make you shine." Upon hearing this, everyone was also interested, sitting in their respective positions, looking forward to it. After a while, the beautiful female manager turned back again, and this time, behind her, there was a young man who shrank and dared not look up. Jacob and the others in the Calligraphy and Painting Association were immediately confused and said to their hearts, "This kid is the show Mr. Orville prepared? This young man, there is nothing outstanding about him." However, at this moment, when the young man in front of him walked into the box, without saying anything, he immediately bowed to Orville and said respectfully and fearfully, "Uncle, I'm here to report to you. Please review it." The person who came was Lu Ming. On the same day, after mentioning the word poor hanging in the Champs-Élysées hot springs, Orville clearly told him that he would come to his front every other week to check it out in person. In order to make sure this guy dare not do any scar removal repairs, let alone plastic surgery. However, Orville didn't know that he came here today not to make a point, but to make a stand. From entering the door to now, Lu Ming has been counting the number of security guards silently. After entering the box, he took a closer look at the people in the box. Seeing that the box was full of old men, he was relieved. Even if this old master is a friend of Mr. Orville, he might not have any practical combat effectiveness. With the machete, he can knock them down. At this time, Orville said to Lu Ming, "Lu Ming, these are the leaders of our Oris Hill Calligraphy and Painting Association. Since it is the Calligraphy and Painting Association, it is natural to have a lot of research and attainments in calligraphy. Lift up, let Mr. Wilson and the others look at the human calligraphy on your forehead, and let everyone comment on it." Hearing this, Lu Ming's heart was instantly humiliated. He wanted to turn around and leave, but he knew very well in his heart that his father was still waiting for him to go back and report the situation before bringing someone in. Therefore, he must hold back now, and do a full set of acting. Thinking of this, he could only grit his teeth, slowly raised his head, and showed his forehead to everyone present. Although these old men are not young anymore, they are more or less presbyopic, but the words poor hanging on his forehead are really eye-catching. Everyone recognized it at a glance. Chairman Pei said in surprise, "What's going on? This little gentleman, why should you engrave the word poor hang on his forehead?" Orville sneered and said, "This little brother usually has a bad mouth, and he likes to call others poor. He accidentally offended Mr. Wade and even called Mr. Wade poor hanging. Since he likes to say these two words, then we engraved them on his forehead so that he will accompany these two characters for the rest of his life." Jacob asked in surprise, "Is this lettering on his forehead because he offended my son-in-law?" "Yes." Orville nodded and said, "Your son-in-law, Mr. Wade." President Pei said in surprise, "Oh, Jacob, why haven't you told us that you have such a powerful son-in-law yet?" Su Wen also sighed, "Jacob, what you hide is too deep, it's really low-key." Jacob laughed and said, "Oh, my son-in-law is very low-key, so I'm not too high-key." Everyone complimented. Lu Ming looked at Jacob with a smug look and thought viciously, "It turns out that this old thing is the father-in-law of Charlie. It is going to be a jackpot today." today, he must take his life. Think of it as asking son-in-law for some interest. After Lu Ming was ridiculed by the crowd, he was sent out by Orville. If he always goes out of classic mansion, he will definitely go home with his forehead. But this time, instead of covering his forehead, he walked back to the parking lot with a murderous look and got into the car that Lu Guang and Jones Zizhu were in. Lu Guang had been waiting here for a long time. When Lu Ming got in the car, he hurriedly asked, "Son, what's the situation inside?" Lu Ming gritted his teeth and said, "There are more than 30 waiters and security guards, but more than half are women. The ones who are really a bit combative are 12 security guards." Lu Guang turned his head to look at the middle-aged man who was next to him, and said worriedly, "Mr. Zizhu, are you sure with so many people? If you start working in a while, will you not suffer?" Jones Zizhu sneered coldly and said, "Don't say that more than half of the 30-odd people are women. Even if they are all security guards, it is useless to us." Lu Guang immediately complimented, "Mr. Zizhu is really extraordinary. I admire it." Jones Zizhu nodded arrogantly, looked at Lu Ming again, and asked, "Where is Orville now?" Lu Ming blurted out, "Orville is in the diamond box on the top floor." As he said with a look of excitement, "Dad, Mr. Zizhu, I found a surprise in there." "Oh? What is it?" Lu Guang asked quickly. Lu Mingjian smiled coldly, and said, "I found Charlie's wasteful old master in there, he is also eating here. And he was in the diamond box, Orville was also there to wait on him, and we will go in for a while, do you want him? Kill them together." Charlie's father-in-law. Lu Guang was overjoyed when he heard this, and said, "It's really easy. At Old Song's birthday banquet today, this Charlie beat me. Get him first today. Jacob pays some interest now. If he can kill Charlie's father-in-law, he will be able to avenge himself and his son. Secondly, Mr. Roger hates Charlie. If he kills his father-in-law, Mr. Roger will definitely treat him differently." Thinking of this, he turned his head to look at Jones Zizhu, and said, "Mr. Zizhu, how Charlie treated Mr. Regner and the young master at the Song family birthday banquet. You must have heard of it too. Since Charlie's wasteful old master is also there. Do you think we should get rid of him too?" Jones Zizhu nodded and said, "Charlie insulted my master and young master. I naturally wish to cut him 1,000 times. Since I meet his old master, I have no reason to spare him." Lu Guang nodded excitedly, and said, "Then let's go in together, and let them die today." The other side. In the diamond box of Classic Mansion, a variety of dishes are served on the table, which can be described as a delicacy. As the underground emperor of Oris Hill, Orville said with respect to Jacob at this moment, "Mr. Wilson, I specially asked the back chef to prepare this table of special health-preserving dishes. I hope it will suit your appetite. These ingredients are the ones that the only top class in Oris Hill can buy, and it is natural and without any additives." Jacob's saliva flowed down looking at the various delicacies in front of him. Even before the Wilson family went bankrupt, he had never been to such a top restaurant, let alone eaten such good things. Sometimes, he dreams of experiencing the extravagant life of such a master. He can order a top-quality shark fin, a top-quality abalone, and steam an Australian lobster or king crab in the restaurant. However, for so many years, he has never had such an opportunity. He has eaten the most expensive meal, which had the per capita is only 2,000. Today, he has already spared it, and he is ready to eat a meal of 2 or 300,000 per person. But Orville's preparations today were truly extravagant. One serving of the best double-head abalone cost 8,880. Jacob was dumbfounded. Let alone black truffles, caviar, and other delicacies, it costs thousands for a casual serving. This meal, if calculated according to the specifications, is already at least 2 to 3 million. Jacob had never eaten such an expensive meal in his entire life. He was so excited and busy eating that he said to Orville, "Mr. Orville, thank you so much for your great hospitality." Orville smiled slightly, took out a business card of his own from his pocket, handed it to Jacob's hand, and said, "Mr. Wilson, this is the next business card, please keep it. Next time you come to Classic Mansion again, give me a call and I will immediately ask someone to pack out the diamond box and use it as you like." After Jacob took the business card, he was filled with joy. Other people in the Calligraphy and Painting Association were even more enthusiastic when they saw such a scene. "This Jacob is really amazing. The famous Orville is like a grandson in front of him, and there is no such thing as a big boss." Mr. Orville not only served dishes and poured wine in the box himself, but even took the initiative to pour a glass of white wine. He came to Jacob's face and said respectfully, "Mr. Wilson, I toast you a glass." Jacob immediately held up the wine glass, flattered, touched Orville, and then drank the wine in the glass. After a glass of wine, he couldn't help sighing, "Oh, this wine is really delicious." Mr. Orville smiled and said, "This is a 40-year-old Mutai, and you need a 6-figure bottle for a kilogram. Mr. Wilson will drink more if he likes it. I will let someone bring 2 more bottles later." Jacob hurriedly thanked, "Oh, Mr. Orville, I really don't know how to thank you. You are so kind." "I should be." Orville said piously, "Mr. Wade treats me as kind as a mountain, and you are Mr. Wade's father-in-law. I naturally have to treat you wholeheartedly to be worthy of Mr. Wade's kindness to me." Jacob couldn't help sighing, why did this Charlie fool? He's almost fooling Mr. Orville into his dog legs. Unexpectedly, this guy has no other abilities, but the ability to fool people is really amazing. Others at the dinner table, seeing Jacob having such a face in front of Orville, had long been willing to cater to him. President Pei couldn't help holding up the wine glass and said with a smile on his face, "Oh, today I really want to thank Jacob for arranging such a show. The old master has lived all his life and has never eaten such a luxurious meal. My eye is opened." As he said with a serious look, "In addition, today our Calligraphy and Painting Association has ushered in a new executive director. Come, let us all respect Director Wilson with a glass." Everyone was also very acquainted, and they picked up their wine glasses and said with a smile, "Director Wilson, we respect you together." When Jacob heard that Chairman Pei took the lead in calling himself Director Wilson, he was surprised and said, "Chairman Pei, am I elected?" "Of course." Chairman Pei said with a smile, "Jacob, our standing director is none other than you." When Jacob heard this, he was immediately excited and said hurriedly, "Thank you, President Pei. Thank you, everyone. I will continue to work harder and make more contributions to our calligraphy and painting association. Everyone also laughed flatteringly, and then they brought up their glasses together. When he was about to have a drink, there was a loud bang, and the door of the box was kicked open. The people in the box were suddenly startled by the loud noise. Everyone was too busy to watch and saw a burly middle-aged man walking into the box with a cold face. And behind him, 4 middle-aged men with arrogant faces also stepped in. These 5 people are Regnar's personal bodyguards. Lu Guang and Lu Ming followed these men with arrogant faces, with a grin on their faces, very arrogant. Mr. Orville frowned when he saw Lu Guang and Lu Ming his son and said coldly, "You father and son are really courageous, dare you to bring someone to kick my classic mansion?" Lu Ming snorted coldly and said, "Orville, your death is imminent and will not delay your pretending? Tell you, you humiliated me, dare not forget for a moment, today we are here to kill you." When these words came out, everyone's jaw dropped. Did they hear him right? There are people who are bold enough to want the life of Orville. Mr. Orville also sneered sarcastically at this time, "You want my life? Do you really think that Orville is eating dry rice? Do you know how many younger brothers I have in Oris Hill?" Lu Guang said coldly at this moment, "I'm telling you, Mr. Orville, no matter how many little brothers you have are useless, and all of the more than 10 security guards in your classic mansion have been abolished, and no one can save you now." As he said, he pointed to Jones Zhu beside him, with a vicious expression on his face. "These are all masters of the Wu family. With them, you are hard to fly today, and you are definitely in a place to die. Mr. Wu gives you a chance. You kneel in front of him and lick his shoes clean. He will leave you a whole body. Otherwise, I will smash you into pieces today." When Orville heard this, he couldn't help feeling a little nervous. It seems that he was still negligent. For so many years, his position in Oris Hill has been so respected that he has long believed that there are still people in Oris Hill who dared not to touch himself. Therefore, he did not always carry dozens of bodyguards with him. He always feels that a dozen security guards in Classic Mansion are good at protecting and to ensure his safety. But no one thought that the Wu family would actually do something to him. Moreover, the 5 bodyguards of the Wu family really looked extraordinary. At first glance they were masters of combat. It seems that even if he brings 20 people here today, he may not be able to stop these 5 people. At this time, Lu Ming pointed at Jacob and asked in a cold voice, "You are Charlie's old master?" Jacob said in his heart, "You, what do you want to do?" "What do I want to do?" Lu Ming sneered, and said, "Charlie's rubbish, not only humiliating me but also humiliate my father? He is lucky if he is not here today, otherwise, he would get killed here today." After speaking, Lu Ming looked at Jacob and said viciously, "However, since Charlie is not here today, then you, the old master, pay some interest for him." When Jacob heard this, his face paled in fright, and he asked in a panic, What do you mean, what do you want to do?" "What do I want to do?" Lu Ming gritted his teeth and said, "Of course I am going to kill you. Let your good son-in-law come to collect the body for you." Jacob was taken aback and immediately wanted to drill under the table. At the dinner table, the other members of the Calligraphy and Painting Association also hid in the corner for fear of getting hurt. Jones who said coldly at this time, "All those who have nothing to do with Mr. Orville and Jacob, get out of here. Otherwise, I will kill them together." As soon as the voice fell, President Pei and the others ran out in a panic. Jacob's friend Su Wen was at a loss. He wanted to escape, but seeing that Jacob's life was in danger here, he didn't want to abandon him for a while. Dave was trembling in fright at this time. Seeing that Su Wen was still hesitant, he hurriedly said, "Su Wen, leave quickly. If this group of people really do anything to you, I can't explain to your family." Jones who shouted coldly, "If you don't want to go, just stay." Su Wen gritted his teeth and dared not delay any longer, and hurried out of the box. Dave was desperate in his heart, but fortunately, Mr. Orville was still in the box, so he prayed that Mr. Orville could cope with the situation. However, Mr. Orville could do nothing at this time. This group of people kicked open the door of the diamond box and made such a big movement. If there was no accident, their own people would have appeared long ago. Up to now, no one has come over, which proves that these people have been ill-adjusted. Lu Guang gritted his teeth and looked at Mr. Orville, and said coldly, "Orville, your death time is here." After speaking, he turned his head and said respectfully to Jones Zizhu, "Mr. Zizhu, please do it." Jones Zizhu nodded, took a step forward, and said, "Orville, come forward and die." When Mr. Orville was young, he was considered a half-practice. He did not accept his fate when he was young. Instead, he prepared a posture to deal with it. He said coldly, "If you want my fate, it depends on whether you have this ability. Now." Jones Zizhu sneered and said, "You are just an ant in my eyes." After all, he walked directly towards Orville. Orville looked solemn but knew that he couldn't give in at this time, so he immediately punched Jones Zizhu. Jones Zizhu sneered, only to punch lightly. But when the two fists collided, Orville only felt that his body was hit by a huge boulder, and with a puff, he felt a strong attack. He couldn't stand it, he immediately flew out and fell to the ground. Orville, who fell to the ground, suddenly changed his complexion. He couldn't believe that the strength of this man was so abnormal. It's crushing him. Lu Ming saw this scene, his eyes lit up, and his heart was ecstatic. And his father Lu Guang is even more excited. The one who fell to the ground was the underground emperor of Restville. However, after tonight, his position will be replaced. And he will become a dead body. Thinking of this, Lu Guang immediately sneered, "Orville, aren't you very arrogant? Now you know what there are outsiders and there is a heaven above you, right?" After all, Lu Guang walked up to Orville and gritted his teeth, and said, "Before killing you, I also want you to taste it. What is humiliation?" Immediately, he hurriedly said to Jones Zizhu, "Mr. Zizhu, please help me to control him. I want to engrave the word poor hang on his forehead to avenge my son." Jones Zizhu said coldly, "I came to kill him today, not to ask you to engrave him. If you want to engrave, you can wait until I kill him." Lu Guang hurriedly said, "Mr. Zizhu, in that case, he won't be able to feel the pain of humiliation and death." Jones Zizhu glanced at him and said, "The surname over there is Xiao, you can engrave it whatever you want, I will kill him first. After all, Jones Zizhu pinched Orville's neck with one hand, and lifted the volley with his feet hanging in the air. Jones Zizhu only used a little force on his hand, and Mr. Orville suddenly felt a sharp pain in his neck, completely out of breath, and it felt more painful than hanging himself. It seemed that his Adam's apple would be crushed vigorously. At this moment, Mr. Orville's face was full of black and purple. His heart had already realized that he would die today. As early as when Lu Guang rushed into the diamond box, Marvin left home and drove the old master's BMW car to Tianxiang Mansion. Originally, he was not prepared to go out so early. But his mother-in-law Viola kept talking to him at home. For a while, she disliked Dave as he went to a restaurant to be extravagant. She felt that 20,000 would be better for her to buy cosmetics, and by the way, she could go to the mahjong hall to rub a few circles with friends. After a while, she disliked Marvin for not going out to work and eat plain rice when he was idle at home. Later, she said more and more vigorously. She insisted on introducing Marvin to a job as a security guard in the parking lot. She also said that the salary of 3,000 a month would be paid to him. Marvin knew that Viola had run out of money recently, and her pocket was cleaner than her face, and she couldn't play outside, so she could only stay at home most of the time. And as long as she is at home, she will be sulking and complaining constantly. She was in a bad mood, and Marvin was even more unpleasant. It just so happened that tonight Dave and his wife Avella hadn't come home yet, so Viola kept chirping at him, really annoying Marvin, so he went out early, even in the car. Sitting is much better than listening to her complaining at home. Marvin drove to Tianxiang Mansion and stopped at the door of Tianxiang Mansion. He didn't get up in a hurry. He checked that the time was still early, and it was estimated that the old master would have to sit on it for a while, so he turned off the fire and sat in the car to listen to songs and pass the time. According to the original plan, the plan was to wait for the old master to call himself after he had finished drinking and had enough food and drink and then went up to pick him up. However, after waiting at the gate of Tianxiang Mansion for a while, Marvin realized that something was wrong. At the gate of Tianxiang Mansion, there have always been 2 security guards and 2 waitresses. The security guards are responsible for guarding and the waiter is responsible for welcoming guests. But today, there is no one at the gate of Tianxiang Mansion. Moreover, there was a sign at the door stating that the business was closed. What's the situation? Marvin thought to himself, did Mr. Orville know that the old master is coming today, so he directly booked the venue for him? Mr. Orville is very insightful in handling things. Thinking like this, he saw a lot of panicked old men at the gate of Tianxiang Mansion. Marvin was even more puzzled. These old men all looked the same age as Dave, and each of them looked scared as if something had happened inside. So Marvin hurriedly got out of the car and stopped an old master to ask, "Uncle, what happened upstairs?" It was Chairman Pei who was stopped. He was still in shock, and he kept shaking and said, "They are killing upstairs." When Marvin heard this, he snorted in his heart. Murdered? What's the situation? Could it be that something happened to Tianxiang Mansion? Thinking of this, he immediately rushed into Tianxiang Mansion. When he entered Tianxiang Mansion, he discovered that the waiter and security had fallen to the ground. Marvin stepped forward to investigate and found that all the waiters and security guards had passed out, and everyone had bruises on their necks, and it seemed that they had passed out with their hands. "This is a master." Marvin couldn't help but pay attention, and immediately stepped upstairs. At this time, Orville was dying, his eyes turned white. On the other side, Lu Guang and Lu Ming winked at each other seeing this. Lu Ming took a dagger from his waist and looked at Dave, who was trembling in the corner, and said coldly, "Since Mr. Orville was dealt with by Jones, then they will let this Dave suffer double crime." After that, he said to his father Lu Guang, "Dad, you grab this old thing, and I will engrave the 4 characters poor hang father-in-law on his forehead." Lu Guang nodded, and said coldly, "Engrave. Must engrave. Be harder and engrave it on his skull." Dave's scared soul was not possessed, and he blurted out, "I have no grievances with you, why do you treat me like this?" "No grievances and no enmity." Lu Ming rushed to Dave with a vigorous step, slapped him directly and severely. "You're not dead. Your son-in-law has humiliated me, dare you say that you have no grievances with me? I tell you, today I will not only engrave the 4 characters of hanging father-in-law on your forehead, I want to kill you. Let your poor son-in-law comes and collects your body." Lu Ming's blade was extremely sharp, and Dave cried in fright as he watched the cold light refracted by the blade. However, he had no other way. He could only blurt out to shout to Orville, "Great Mr. Orville, Orville help!" Orville was on the verge of death at this time. His brain was about to lose consciousness due to a lack of oxygen. Suddenly he heard Dave's call for help. With the last bit of effort, he said, "Mr. Xiao, I'm sorry, it was Orville who made you tired." Jones Zhu said with a gloomy expression, "Orville, you haven't died for so long, you old guy is a bit capable, but I advise you not to insist any more. If you continue to persist, you will only suffer more pain." Mr. Orville's face was completely black and purple, but he still roared hoarsely, "I will never let you off if I am a ghost." "Oh!" Jones Zhu sneered, "Then I will wait for you to turn into a ghost to find me tonight. Then, I will let you die again." Mr. Orville smiled hard and said, "Don't worry, Mr. Ye will avenge me today. I will walk a little slower on road and wait for you to come over." "Noisy!" Jones Zhu snorted coldly and said, "Mr. Ye, in your mouth is nothing but rubbish in my eyes." After that, Jones Zhu said again, "But you really have to go slower on Huangchuan Road, because soon I will send Mr. Ye on the road. Then, on Huangchuan Road, you two can go together. Just rely on you." Mr. Orville sneered incomparably, "You don't know Mr. Ye's strength at all. In front of Mr. Ye, you are not even worthy of rubbish. Looking for death?" Jones Zhu looked cold, and said coldly, "Come on, if you have anything, go and talk to Lord." Immediately, he increased a bit of strength in his hand, and the breath of Mr. Orville was immediately pinched. "The last bit of backlight has been exhausted, and the lamp is about to run out." Lu Ming laughed loudly at this moment, "Cool. Kill Mr. Orville and Marvin's father-in-law tonight, if you kill Marvin tomorrow, I will get revenge." At this time, Lu Guang had already held down Dave's head and said to Lu Ming, "Son, hurry up and engrave. After the engraving, I will take a photo as a souvenir." "Good." Lu Ming grinned, the tip of the knife already touching Dave's forehead. At this time, Mr. Orville's eyes were completely rolled up, and he almost died of breath. At this moment, the door of the box was suddenly kicked directly by someone. When Dave saw someone coming, he broke down and cried, and shouted loudly, "Marvin, my good son-in-law, if you come one step later, you can only collect the body." Marvin's face was as cold as frost at this time. He really didn't expect that Lu Guang and Lu Ming would dare to bring someone to kill Mr. Orville and his own father-in-law. At this moment, he was so angry that he had already moved to kill. And Lu Guang and Lu Ming were too excited when they saw him coming. After such a long time, how much ridicule and humiliation Lu Ming has been living a life worse than death. And all this is thanks to Marvin. Right now, he finally got revenge. And Lu Guang was slapped by Marvin today, and he naturally hated him to the bone. Originally regretted that he could not take his life today, he did not expect that he would come to the door himself. Immediately, Lu Guang said to Jones Zizhu, "Mr. Zizhu, this is Marvin. Kill him." Lu Ming shouted from the side, "Mr. Zizhu, quickly kill this poor man." Marvin frowned and said, "You let Mr. Orville and my old master, I might consider spare you a dog life." Lu Guang was furious, and blurted out, "Marvin, what are you talking about rubbish? He wants to pretend to be forceful when he dies, so he really takes himself seriously? Do you know if Mr. Zizhu can take you every minute of life?" After speaking, he said coldly again, "I tell you, since you dare to appear here today, then don't think about being able to go out alive." Marvin said disdainfully, "Do you think it's just a few rubbish people can kill me?" Lu Guang looked at Marvin coldly, and the villain said with a great ambition, "Marvin, I know you are skilled, but the few behind me, but the great masters carefully cultivated by the Wu family, are all powerful. How can you? If you can fight, you can't be their opponent. Believe it or not, Mr. Zizhu will hit you all over the floor with a single move. Can you survive or die?" Lu Ming hurriedly said, "Dad, what can I say to Marvin this rubbish? Want me to say, just beat him into a rubbish? I want him to kneel in front of me, kowtow to admit his mistake, and before Marvin's death, I also have to engrave the word waste on his forehead, take it with my mobile phone, and post the video to the internet so that the whole Restville will know that Marvin is a useless waste." Lu Guang laughed and said, "Okay. Just do what you said." Seeing Jones Zizhu pinching Mr. Orville hard, Marvin said coldly, "Let him go, what's coming at me?" Jones Zizhu said with a look of contempt, "Let go of him? Boy, believe it or not, I can kill you with one hand. I will send you on the road with Mr. Orville." Seeing his face full of confidence, Marvin sneered, "This hand of yours doesn't belong to you anymore." After that, he rushed up immediately. Jones Zizhu didn't expect Marvin to rush towards him, and before letting go of Mr. Orville with his right hand, he attacked Marvin fiercely with his left hand. Jones Zizhu was full of confidence at this time. He felt that he was already strong and out of place. How could an ordinary person be his opponent? Even if it is Mr. Orville who has been fighting for half a lifetime, isn't it still done by one hand? However, what he did not expect was that Marvin flashed his attack in an instant, and then suddenly grabbed his arm and punched his shoulder. This punch is beyond imagination. Just listen to a click. Jones Zizhu's left shoulder has all been shattered into dust. The bones turned into powder in the flesh. This kind of pain is like thousands of bone spurs, constantly piercing the nerves and flesh, causing Jones Zizhu to grin in pain as if all his strength was emptied in an instant. Immediately afterward, as soon as he loosened his right hand, Mr. Orville slumped to the ground, and his whole body had no reaction. Marvin looked at him and could sense that he still had an extremely weak breath, and he was not dead, and he was relieved. Since Mr. Orville only had a trace of life left, Marvin didn't worry about saving him immediately. Instead, he looked at the group of people in front of him and said coldly, "None of you want to leave today." Jones Zizhu's left shoulder was shattered, and there was only a layer of skin and flesh on his left arm, completely out of control. He could only hang on one side, and his expression at this time was even more horrified. He is the king of special forces. Very strong. Never encountered an opponent in the military. If it weren't for the price offered by the Wu family, how could he be willing to be someone else's bodyguard and a thug with his strength and arrogance? Jones Zizhu has never tasted defeat for so many years, but he did not expect that he was just a face-to-face with Marvin, and his left arm was abolished. This Marvin's strength is too strong, right? Marvin looked at Jones Zizhu with a look of horror, and sneered, "What? Afraid now?" Jones Zizhu looked terrified, took a step back subconsciously, and questioned, "Who are you? Why do you have such strength?" Marvin said lightly, "Who am I? I am the person you shouldn't mess with within your life." Jones Zizhu gritted his teeth and said to the four brothers around him, "Go together and kill him." The other four immediately rushed forward, and Jones Zizhu joined them with a stubborn arm. The five immediately surrounded Marvin with a murderous look. However, their faces are extremely solemn. Just now Marvin did it, and even Jones Zizhu couldn't make an effective defense. It can be seen that the opponent's skill is much better than them. Therefore, they can only hope that the five people can work together to beat Marvin. Marvin smiled coldly at this time, and said indifferently, "The chickens and dog." In the next moment, Marvin was like lightning, and he fought fiercely with the five people in an instant. However, Marvin's speed, strength, and explosive power are much stronger than them. Therefore, in front of him, these people have no power to parry. There was only a crackling sound, mixed with the screams of a few people, constantly resounding through the box. And these five people constantly feel that they are being hit hard. Some suddenly got a punch in the chest, and several ribs broke. Others, like Jones Zizhu, accidentally broke their arms and became one-armed heroes. There was even worse. Marvin smashed his chin with a punch, and there was a pile of bones and rotten flesh attached to his lower lip. It looked so miserable. Jones Zizhu didn't find any good end either. He suffered heavy blows in the abdomen, and his whole person was like a dead dog, sitting on the ground unable to move. At this time, he was completely frightened. Before today, he had never thought that someone would be so strong that he could crush him with a gentle hand. And now, after years of not encountering a rival, he finally understands the truth that there are mountains beyond the mountains and the heavens beyond the sky. Marvin's strength, for him, was already terrifying to the degree of abnormality. In front of him, he is the real ant. And Lu Guang and his son, who were still arrogant, looked shocked when they saw such a scene. Didn't they even dream that Jones Zizhu was beaten into a dead dog in front of them after a few encounters? Not only him, but also his 4 subordinates have become 4 dead dogs who can only panic and pant. Marvin stepped heavily on Jones Zizhu's chest and broke many of his ribs. He looked down at the terrified Jones Zizhu, watching the painful vomiting blood, coldly asked, "Come on, tell me, who is the real ant?" Jones Zizhu was almost disabled at this time, and his whole body was in terrible pain. All courage and strength had been completely dissipated. He looked at Charlie desperately, thinking of those weak who had been killed by himself. Today, will he also follow the footsteps of those weak, who were crushed and killed by master that he could not contend with? Thinking of this, Jones Zizhu was terrified. His strength is indeed very strong, but it does not mean that he is not afraid of death. In contrast, the more he kills, the more he cherishes life. He wants to live. He wants to live comfortably and lively. That's why he followed the Wu family and helped them to abuse the enemy of the Wu family. He came to kill, and after the killing, he could exchange huge wealth from the Wu family. After the good days of the past few years, he feels that life is too good. So, let him die now, he can't accept it anyway. So, he cried and said to Charlie, "Mr. Wade, I did not know your excellency. I don't know you have such a powerful strength. I only ask you to think that I am only doing things for the Wu family and obeying the orders of the Wu family. On the basis of this, spare my life." Charlie said coldly, "Just because you are working for the Wu family, I think you are even more hateful." With that, Charlie stepped on his right shoulder and completely abolished his entire right arm. Jones Zizhu wailed and cried, but Charlie said in disgust, "Others have real grudges against me. They come to kill me. I understand, but I have no grudges against you. You came to kill me for money, you said. Are you not more hateful than my enemy?" "Mr. Wade, sorry." Jones Zizhu didn't expect that he wanted to defend himself with a few words, but he didn't intend to make Charlie even more upset. Now his shoulders have been shattered. From now on, these 2 arms are just like the 2 sleeves. They can only be slumped and moved back and forth with the body. It is no different from the waist. Charlie turned his face at this moment, looked at Lu Guang and his son who were frightened, and said coldly, "You 2 are very arrogant. Do you even dare to fight my father-in-law?" The 2 arrogant Lu Guang and his son were already scared and stupid. You know, the 5 people who were abandoned by Charlie, although young, are also the bodyguards of the young Master Roger, and they are very powerful. But they never dreamed that this group of people would be so vulnerable, and they weren't even Charlie's enemy of one move. The thought of this made Lu Ming panicked. He pressed the dagger tightly to Jacob's neck, and shouted in a trembling voice, "Charlie, you stop. Otherwise, I will kill your old master." Jacob was so frightened that he hurriedly shouted to Charlie, "Charlie, save me, Charlie." At this moment, Lu Guang suddenly raised his arm and slapped Lu Ming severely. Before Lu Ming came back to his senses, he stunned his face and asked, "Dad, why are you hitting me?" Lu Guang blurted out angrily, "You dare to take a knife against Mr. Wade's old master's neck? Are you looking for death? Don't you hurry to kneel down for Mr. Wade." After scolding his son, Lu Guang turned around, knelt on the ground with a puff, and immediately cried with tears, "Mr. Wade, I was bewitched by the Wu family and his son. They let me kill Mr. Orville and then held me to sit on Mr. Orville's throne. They also said that they would kill you and speak out for his son. Please read it for the sake of my temporary confusion, forgive me." Lu Ming is a stunned young man, but Lu Guang is not. He knew very well that the current situation had been completely pulled back by Charlie alone. If he was still fighting against Charlie at this time, it would really be a lantern in the toilet and death imminent. Of course he really wants to sit in the position of Mr. Orville, but he also needs his life to sit at that place. Therefore, at this time, the Wu family, the Oris Hill First family, and the Oris Hill Underground Emperor are nothing to him. He just wants to survive and survive well. Otherwise, even if Charlie relented and allowed himself to survive, he would probably end up like Jones Zizhu. This Zizhu is already a useless person. He will not even have the ability to wipe his butt. Both shoulders have been completely shattered, and the flesh and tissues are also broken into mud. The first thing to do when he is brought to the hospital must be amputation of both arms. He doesn't want to live a life that is worse than death. At this time, Lu Ming wanted to understand that it's useless for him to pretend to be ruthless with Charlie. A man like Jones Zizhu beats Orville's subordinates and cuts them like melons and vegetables. Under Charlie's hands, know what's the trick? Even if he really used a knife against Jacob's throat, he was afraid that Charlie would be able to kill him on the premise of saving Jacob's life. So, Dad knows the current affairs. Thinking of this, he also knelt down with a puff, crying and said, "Mr. Wade, I was wrong, please forgive me. My dad and I came over today because of the persecution by young Mr. Orville, otherwise you give me 10 courage, and I dare not move your people." After speaking, he knelt on the ground, kowtowed his head again to apologize, cried bitterly, and broke down. Charlie sneered and said, "It seems that your father and son have a strong desire to survive." Lu Guang hurriedly said, "Mr. Wade, we are also astray and know how to return." Charlie snorted coldly, "You two kneel down for me. If you dare to move, I will screw off your dog heads." The father and son trembled all over, and both knelt on the ground not daring to move. Charlie stepped to Mr. Orville's side at this time and felt his pulse. Although it was discovered just now that he still had a breath, he was indeed deprived of oxygen for too long, and his body had been seriously damaged and extremely weak. Such a person seems to have suffered a severe brain injury. Although he has not died, he may not be able to wake up in 3 to 5 years, and it is even difficult to wake up for a lifetime. Charlie couldn't bear to watch him become a living dead. After all, in the eyes of Charlie, Mr. Orville is a tough guy and loyal. Such a person is rare, and he can't just watch him become a useless person. So Charlie blocked his vision with his body, and from an angle that no one could see, he took out a rejuvenating pill from his pocket and put it directly into Mr. Orville's mouth. Because it is a secret medicine refined by a lost ancient prescription, this medicine melts in the mouth and has great efficacy. Therefore, the medicine quickly turned into a warm current and entered Mr. Orville's internal organs. Soon, Mr. Orville woke up quietly from the state of dying. Mr. Orville was already in a deep coma, but suddenly he woke up, opened his eyes, saw Charlie right in front of him, and was speechless in surprise. He knew that he was dying just now, but he didn't know why he was waking up suddenly now. He couldn't help exclaiming, "Mr. Wade, what's going on? I'm not dead." Charlie nodded and said lightly, "You can't die as long as you are with me." Mr. Orville was very grateful and blurted out, "Mr. Wade, thank you for this life-saving grace." After finishing speaking, he said guiltily, "I'm sorry, Mr. Wade, because I let them hurt your father-in-law." Charlie waved his hand, "It's not your fault, besides, my father-in-law is not hurt." Mr. Orville breathed a sigh of relief at once, and the next moment, he felt a strong flow of heat in his body, which was swimming around his body. This flow of heat not only healed his injury, but also made his body greatly improved and healthy. He feels that his body has become more vigorous and younger than before. Originally he had some presbyopia, but looking at Charlie at this moment, it became clearer and clearer. He observed at Charlie dumbfounded, trembling with excitement, and asked in a trembling voice, "Mr. Wade, how come in my body, could it be, rejuvenation?" Today at Father Song's birthday banquet, Orville had seen the rejuvenation pill, and he also saw how magical it is. However, he did not dare to hope that he could have such a chance. Therefore, although he felt as if he had taken rejuvenation pill, this incident shocked him too much. Therefore, deep down in his heart, he was not sure whether he really took the rejuvenation pill. Charlie smiled slightly and hurriedly gave him a silent look, and said lightly, "This is your chance, feel it well." Mr. Orville burst into tears at this moment. He knew that what Mr. Wade meant was to give himself a chance. He couldn't imagine that in the last second, he would almost die. And in the next second, not only did he not die, but he also got the great opportunity that Mr. Wade bestowed on him. Rejuvenation pill. The great opportunity that he didn't even dare to dream of, unexpectedly came so uninvited. At this moment, Mr. Orville's loyalty to Charlie was almost bursting. He even felt that his life was given by Charlie. From now on, every second of his life would be for Mr. Wade. Therefore, in the future, he will definitely devote himself to the saddle for Mr. Wade, because without Mr. Wade, he would already be a dead person. Immediately afterwards, Mr. Orville's body quickly recovered. He even stood up with a rush from the ground, then knelt in front of Charlie, and said, "Mr. Wade's life-saving grace. From today, my life, it belongs to Mr. Wade." Charlie smiled slightly, "Get up." When Mr. Orville heard the sound, he stood up. Afterwards, he looked around and saw that the Liu family and his son were kneeling on the ground, not daring to move. Jones Zizhu and the 5 Wu family bodyguards had all become useless. He couldn't help but sigh that Mr. Wade's strength is truly unfathomable. With so many people, they didn't even hurt Mr. Wade. Immediately, he couldn't help asking, "Mr. Wade, what do you plan to do with these people? Do you kill them directly? Or?" Charlie smiled slightly and said, "Come on, let's go to the first trial and convict them." "Sheng Tang?" Mr. Orville asked in surprise, "Mr. Wade, what do you mean?" Charlie smiled and said, "It's the ancient prefect master who was promoted to trial." Mr. Orville nodded hurriedly, moved a chair over, and said with a smile, "Mr. Wade, please sit down, let's be promoted." Charlie laughed, sat down on the chair, pointed at Lu Guang, Lu Ming, and said coldly, "The criminals Lu Guang and Lu Ming, you two are dogs for the Wu family and you intend to kill me." Lu Guang and Lu Ming were scared and bowed, crying, "Mr. Wade, be forgiving, Mr. Wade, we were forced to be helpless." Charlie smiled indifferently, and said generously, "Since you are also bewitched by others, then this official will save you from the death penalty." When the two heard this, they were so excited that they were about to cry. But Charlie went on to say, "Capital sins can be avoided, and living sins are hard to forgive. If you two want to survive, it depends on your performance." Lu Guang and Lu Ming expressed their opinions one after another. "Mr. Wade, from now on, we father and son will serve you as cows and horses. Forever." Charlie waved his hand, "I don't want you two to saddle me up." "After all," he said to Mr. Orville, "Mr. Orville, since this Lu Guang is already poor, what should his father be?" Mr. Orville thought for a while, and said, "If you want to hang on his dad, should he be called the father of poor hanging?" Charlie nodded, "Yes. You are right, he's the father of the poor." After speaking, Charlie looked at Lu Guang and asked with a smile, "Lu Guang, what do you think?" Lu Guang hurriedly nodded his head like pounding garlic, and said flatly, "Mr. Orville is right, I am the father of the poor." "Yet." Charlie nodded in satisfaction, and said to Mr. Orville, "Look, since he said so by himself, then quickly prepare your calligraphy and give him a pair." "Calligraphy?" Mr. Orville was stunned, and blurted out, "Mr. Wade, what calligraphy? I'm not good at writing calligraphy." Charlie pointed to the word poor hanging on Lu Ming's head and asked Mr. Orville, "Human calligraphy, have you forgotten?" Mr. Orville slapped his forehead suddenly, and said guiltily, "Oh, I'm sorry Mr. Wade, I am dumb, I didn't expect you to mean this." Lu Guang was frightened when he heard this. The word poor hanging on son's forehead has already made him very painful. If he had the word father of poor hanging on his forehead, then he might as well die. So he cried and said, "Mr. Wade, you see that I am too old, so please give me some face." Charlie nodded and said seriously, "I gave you a face, so I asked Mr. Orville to carve your forehead. Otherwise, I would also engrave the words on both sides of your face. Your son will give you a pair, and you can make a money for the father and son." Lu Guang collapsed and cried, and yelled, "Mr. Wade, please forgive me. I am old and my skin is wrinkled. Mr. Orville is not easy to get a knife." Mr. Orville sneered, "Lu Guang, don't bother, my hand is very stable, even if your forehead is full of large folds, I can engrave the words for you." Jacob hurriedly blurted out and complained at this time, "Good son-in-law, this Lu Guang is not a thing. He was going to engrave the words poor father-in-law on my forehead, and he said that he should work harder to engrave it on my skull." Lu Guang shuddered, crying, and said, "Mr. Wilson, I was joking, you let your mother's old mule bullshit." Jacob shouted angrily, "Your son's knife hit my forehead just now. If it weren't for my son-in-law's arrival in time, I would have asked you to engrave it." Lu Guang hurriedly cried to Charlie, "Mr. Wade, I really made a little joke with your father-in-law, not sincere." Charlie said coldly, "I don't care if you are sincere or not, I will give you the choice now, either, you can let Mr. Orville finish carving the characters without moving, or I will let Mr. Orville take a knife and castrate your son, and yes, castrate in front of you. Choose your own choice." When Lu Ming heard this, he burst into tears and knelt in front of Lu Guang. He kept kowtow and cried, "Dad, Dad, you can't let him castrate me, there will be no child. Our old Lu family can't endure." Lu Guang also passed out in pain. What should he do? If he knew it was today, he would kill myself, and would not dare to provoke Orville or Charlie to his father-in-law. Now, Charlie put such a multiple-choice question in front of him. How should he choose? Choose lettering? The wiseness of life is considered to be thrown into the pit. However, if he don't choose engraving, his son's roots may be severed by Mr. Orville. This is not just the root of the son alone, this is the root of the entire family. Thinking of this, he shook his whole body, looked at Mr. Orville, and choked in despair and pain. "Great Mr. Orville, please show me some mercy when you engrave." Mr. Orville sneered and said, "Don't worry, I will definitely engrave it on your skull." Lu Guang frightened and cried out in despair. The moment Mr. Orville's knife touched his forehead, he yelled in pain, and even struggled to hide. Mr. Orville slapped him directly, and said coldly, "Scream again, and I will cut your son's roots." Upon hearing this, Lu Guang didn't dare to move any more. He could only cry, gritted his teeth, and accepted Orville's human flesh calligraphy. Mr. Orville hit the knife very hard, and soon carved 4 large characters on Lu Guang's forehead, "The father of the poor hanging." Lu Guang's entire forehead was already bloody, looking very miserable. Lu Ming was also scared to death by the side, watching his father also get engraved and engraved 4 at a time. This feeling, this taste, is really uncomfortable. After the words were carved, Lu Guang tremblingly cried and asked Charlie, "Mr. Wade, can you let us go?" Charlie shook his head and said, "Do you think that Livingston is just a little bit?" After finishing talking, he said to Lu Ming, "Come on, hang on, give me your phone." Lu Ming hurriedly took out his latest Apple phone and handed it to Charlie after unlocking it. Charlie asked him, "Is there a video recorder?" "Yes," Lu Ming nodded quickly. Charlie found YouTube, opened it, and said to him, "Come on, today your father and son record a crosstalk on YouTube. If the recording is good, I will let you go. If the recording is not good, all legs and feet will be interrupted." The father and son hurriedly said, "Mr. Wade, we can do what you say. As long as you don't kill us, anything is fine, yet." Charlie nodded slightly and said, "Come on, I will tell you both of your lines. You two have memorized them. You don't a mistake. Do you understand?" The two of them nodded like garlic. I understand, I understand." "Okay." Charlie sneered, asked the two of them to come to the front, and said the lines he designed for them. When the words were finished, both father and son were shocked. Lu Guang cried and said, "Mr. Wade, if we really want to say this, make a video and send it out, the Wu family will definitely kill us." Lu Ming also said to the side, "Mr. Wade, you are killing our grandpa." Charlie said coldly, "What? The Wu family will kill you, but I won't." The two of them paled in shock. Charlie said again, "Tell you, if you record this video honestly, you two will have at least 1 night to escape. As long as you escape from Oris Hill, the Wu family may not be able to do anything to you. If you escape the country, you too can live a life in peace, but if you don't follow my instructions, then you will stay here tonight." Hearing this, Lu Guang hurriedly said, "Mr. Wade, we have spent so many years in Oris Hill. If we leave tonight, many assets will be left here." Charlie frowned. "What? Want to bargain? Forget it, don't record it, just hand it over." Lu Ming hurriedly persuaded his father, saying, "Dad, what life is more important? Let's go to East Cliff first tonight, and then fly from East Cliff to Malaysia tomorrow morning to Uncle. We will also buy a small manor in Malaysia in the future. I won't come back in this life." Thinking of this, Lu Guang gritted his teeth and said, "Mr. Wade, let's shoot." Charlie nodded in satisfaction and said, "Come on, start quickly." After speaking, he picked up the phone and pointed it at the man and his son. The two men stood side by side. Lu Ming wiped away his tears, and said with a strong smile, "Hello everyone, I am a poor hanger, Lu Ming." Lu Guang also hurriedly said, "I am Lu Guang, the father of the poor hanging." The two men said at the same time, "Our father and son will tell you a cross-talk today." Lu Ming continued, "Everyone must have seen these two characters on my forehead. The reason why I engraved the two characters on my forehead is mainly because I have always been arrogant and engraved these two characters on my forehead. It's just to remind everyone that I am poor." Lu Guang also said, "I say that I am a hero, and I am a hero of my son. Since my son has carved the word poor hanging on his forehead, then I definitely can't hold back my son, so I had this on my forehead. Father of poor hanging. Lu Ming said at this time, "When you see this, you will definitely ask, why are my dad and I so arrogant? This is mainly because we have a very good relationship with the Wu family." "Yes," Lu Guang said next to him, "everyone knows that the Wu family is rich, but the most powerful thing in the Wu family is not rich, but a son who likes to eat shit." Lu Ming answered, "Yes. Speaking of the son of the Wu family who eats shit, everyone must have watched the video on YouTube. This guy has to eat 1 meal an hour, and 1 bite will not work. He is in the hospital toilet. In order to eat something hot, he pulled the old master who was being relieved from the squat pit and grabbed the shit from the crowd. Do you think this is an ordinary person?" Lu Guang echoed from the side, "According to you, this Wu family is really extraordinary." "Of course." Lu Ming nodded repeatedly and praised with a thumbs up, "So I still have to say that the Wu family is amazing, or else, the second young master of the Wu family, can he be so arrogant?" Lu Guang asked curiously, "Hey, right, why haven't you heard the second young master of the Wu family recently?" Lu Ming said, "I heard, he is living comfortably now. It's a royal treatment." "How do you say?" Lu Guang looked gossip. Lu Ming said, "He is doing great now. He lives in the Wu family's mansion. It is said that there is need of 20 special pulls in a day, and he eats fresh." Lu Guang asked in surprise, "So exciting? With more than 20 meals a day, can the Wu family's output be sufficient?" Lu Ming said earnestly, "That's definitely not enough. Think about it, no matter how the Wu family can pull it, they can't stand up to occasional constipation or something." "Ouch!" Lu Guang blurted out, then the second young master of the Wu family might be interrupted. After that, Lu Guang asked Lu Ming, "Dad, do you want to sign up, and go to the Wu's house in Suzhou for a few days, and give many warm meals for Mr. Wu?" Lu Ming nodded repeatedly and smiled and said, "This is a good idea. If we go, the old master from the Wu family, he, and Regner, won't they be grateful and kowtow to us?" When he said this, Lu Ming's heart trembled. This is really going to offend the Wu family to death. Lu Guang felt like jumping wildly in his heart, but he glanced at Charlie and could only bite the bullet and continued, "It's more than a kowtow. He'll probably grateful to kneel and lick with both of us. I heard that the Wu family likes it. Recognize us godfather everywhere, maybe when you get excited, you have to recognize me as a godfather or something." Old Master Wu likes to recognize his godfather. Lu Ming asked in surprise, "Why do you have this habit? Then who knows to go?" Lu Guang shrugged and said, "I heard that the old immortal has already recognized more than 300 godfathers. It may be that the old immortal likes to be a son." Lu Ming quickly took over Lu Guang's words and said, "Then if I go to the Wu family, will the old master from the Wu family also recognize me as a father?" Lu Guang snapped his fingers, "Hey, don't tell me, I think it's very likely." Lu Ming hurriedly said, "Oh, Dad, this is not okay. The old master calls us both fathers, so don't we two have a difference?" Lu Guang thought for a moment, then nodded and said, "It makes sense, then I will let him recognize me as a godfather. Isn't it all right?" Lu Ming hee, "I think it works." Lu Guang said at this time, "In fact, this Wu family has a little special hobby. Not only Wu Qi likes to eat shit and old Wu likes to recognize godfathers, but Regner also has special hobbies." "Really?" Lu Ming asked curiously, "What is Regner's hobby? Could it be that he also likes to eat that stuff?" "It's not." Lu Guang said, "I heard that when Regner was young, he had a strong green hat plot." Lu Ming asked curiously, "Dad, what does the green hat plot mean?" Lu Guang said, "Hey, he just like to be cuckolded, and the more he wears, the cooler he is." Lu Ming exclaimed, "Is it so magical?" "Of course." Lu Guang laughed stiffly and said, "It is said that when Regner was young, he had a particularly lofty dream." Lu Ming hurriedly asked, "What dream?" Lu Guang said, "He dreamed of wearing 10,000 green hats, but if lose one, he felt that life is not fulfilled enough." Lu Ming put his finger to the fortune and said, "Dad, wearing a green hat 365 days a year, Regner will wear a green hat for 30 years. The key is that his wife can't stay idle all day long." Lu Guang smiled and said, "Look, you don't understand this. Who said that people wear one top a day? Sometimes people wear several tops a day, or even several tops at a time." When Lu Ming heard this, he immediately gave a thumbs up, and exclaimed, "Why don't you say that the Wu family is awesome? It's amazing." After that, Lu Ming asked again, "By the way, Dad, that Roger, does he have any special hobbies?" Lu Guang laughed, and said, "The Wu family is the most powerful." Lu Ming asked curiously, "What is it?" Lu Guang said mysteriously, "Actually, he is a homos." "Hey!" Lu Ming exclaimed, "Roger is gay?" "Yes." Lu Guang blurted out, he is not only gay, but also the kind of character who is trapped by men inside. I tell you, don't watch him drag him to death all day long, in fact, he will change immediately after closing the door. Become a perverted fake lady. It is said that he likes to hang out with strong men most, and there are several at a time, very powerful. He said, do you know? There is a bodyguard named Jones who beside Regner and Roger. This person is amazing. Back then, he was a super master who killed people without blinking. Later he took himself with to them. A few of brothers worked as bodyguards next to the Wu family's father and son, but this person is also a gay, who happens to be the type that Roger likes, so Roger and these 5 bodyguards stay together all day long, singing songs every night. So happy! Oh my god! Lu Ming exclaimed, it turns out that the Wu family are all playing so exciting. I was really ignorant. Lu Guang smiled and said, let's put it this way, this Wu family, one of them counts as one, all of them are perverts among perverts, a stupid among stupids. Join our Facebook and WhatsApp group for more updates, link is given in description, rest audiobook will be continued in next episode.